the tons of information that were pulled up by a special program which was created in the Arizona State University, Looking Glass. This is a unique program which is able to pull the data and sort it the way the analyst actually wants to see it. So there are different ways to turn this information through the angles that you are interested in through the stages of analysis. So we have identified 3 types of disinformation, mainly in Georgia. One is just the biased information, which argues that Russia is good, the West is bad, very simple. Distorted information, which is actually a mix, a half-truth, how we call it. It's a mix of some factual information very well combined with the lies, which are actually arguing for the same cause, that to demonize the West and to argue that, okay, the West is evil and Russia is a good neighbor for Georgia. And the third category, it's the fabricated information, which is absolutely nothing to do, which has nothing to do with the reality and are just designed in the KGB offices in Moscow just to argue for the overarching narrative, which I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. So what are the important things we were able either to find out or to confirm through this project? So extreme nationalism is the backbone of all disinformation and propaganda themes here in Georgia, and this is really huge. So whatever you may find, anti-NATO, anti-EU, anti-US, or some more specific topics like anti-LGBT or anti-NGO, it is coming back to the extreme nationalist narratives, which actually we the experts were working on this in Georgia, we call it a pro-Georgian narrative, which actually argues that it's not an openly pro-Russian narrative because this is still marginal in this country, but actually it argues that Georgia's identity and traditions and future also is binded with the orthodox neighbor, which is Russia, and whatever is coming from the West is foreign and evil, and we don't have to necessarily buy to that. So that's in very short what it is all about. But this also coincides very well with the global trends because anti-liberal messages are very actual now also in Europe, and Russian disinformation uses this topic very skillfully in a number of European countries to enable its propaganda. And the same for migration. Migration is another example how these global trends of disinformation actually coincide here with the Georgian ones. And of course, the most important thing is the weaponization of the information. And what we mean by that is that these are not just the simple instances of fake news. No, these are well-designed and orchestrated and well-funded campaigns, actually, which coincide in time and geography with some important events internationally and also here in domestic politics. So I'm not sure how much time we will have left to show you the examples. I will skip this slide. If there are any questions about this project, there will be a chance when the panel starts. At the end of the panel, I can hopefully I'll be able to answer some of these. But very briefly, we have fine-tuned the way we work with the information which was pulled up by the Looking Glass several times, and we sharpened the variables, and we tightened the target group several times in order to be able to analyze the information and match it actually with the global ongoing trends. This was one of the biggest challenges we had, just not to look into the historic data, but to match them with the ongoing trends. So here, I will just rush through all this. Unfortunately, I don't have time to tell you more about this, but this is my last slide. Actually, and I just really want to emphasize before I ask the members of the panel to join me at this stage, I really want to emphasize that this propaganda, it's way beyond the fake news. And this propaganda very well correlates with the increase of Russia's influence in this country. And here are some actual events which happened and took place here in Georgia, which have significantly contributed to the increase of Russian influences in Georgia. And one of the biggest challenges that we have found throughout this project is that there is no coherent counter message. There is no positive agenda for Georgia's positive messaging that will argue with all this well-designed and well-resourced narratives that Russians are introducing into the Georgia's information ecosystem. And this is a challenge. The inability of the Georgian political spectrum and the state institutions to come up with a coherent line of counter messages or some positive agenda which would argue against Russian propaganda is not just there. And there are a lot of civil society organizations, our partner organizations, which are doing great job in myth-busting and fighting fake news. But we really, really need to see this happening on a national level, and we have heard it from this stage several times today that there must be a consensus across the sectors in this country to be able to deal with these amounts of propaganda that we have seen in this project. So that's all time I had for this presentation. So now I will move to the stage, and I will ask the members of the panel to join me here. So yeah, sir, please, Jamie. Yeah, you're here. Great. Actually, yep.
We're going to end it on time, though, okay?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay.